Okay, given the performance of Devin, if we put all these guys in a lightweight tournament, or excuse me, a 140-pound tournament, and a Shakur Stevenson moves up. So in the tournament, it's Subriel, it's Devin Haney, it's Teofimo Lopez, it's Rolly, it's Ryan Garcia, and it's Shakur Stevenson. Who's in the final, and who wins that final?
Matias and Gervonta Davis are in the finals.
Oh, I forgot to mention Gervonta.
Yeah.
Yeah. Subriel and Gervonta are in the final.
Yeah, in the final.
Wow. That's saying a lot because a lot of people would have said Shakur.
I think the Shakur looked terrible in his last fight. Why?
He's injured.
You have to. I think, unfortunately, in this game, is what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
You know, that's the way that all the fans look at that. And Shakur in his last fight looked terrible. Devin Haney, we're talking about him because he looked great. Talking about Gervonta because he looked great. Matias looked great. Ryan did better than Shakur did in his fight. So I think that you have to base it on what's happened in the near past. And Shakur moving up from 35 to 40, that's a jump. He doesn't have the pop that Davis has. He doesn't have the pop that Matias has. He doesn't have the pop that Ryan has. He could be comparable to Teo, let's just say. And Devin doesn't have the pop, but Devin's got a lot of ability that he's showed us that when he's on, it's going to be difficult to beat him. So I would say the semi would be Devin Haney and Shakur. And the one before the quarter would be, the one before that would be Raleigh and Ryan, because they would have gotten beat by the other guys.
Dang. Tank and Subriel. Oof.
I'd hate to see that fight, though.
Why?
Because I think the Tank is so good. I really like Tank.
I would favor. I can see
really
Tank cracking.
Subriel.
I can see Tank cracking Subriel because
absolutely.
Subriel gets hit a lot, and I don't think
Egershoff hit him. He just didn't have no firepower. So that's why I say
he can't get hit by Tank like that because Tank is getting night.
And Shakur doesn't have that kind of power like Tank, and neither does Devin. So those guys wouldn't give Subriel a hard time. Ryan is too inexperienced to give him a hard time, and Raleigh's too inexperienced, too small to give him a hard time. So that's why I say I would hate to see that fight because I like both guys, but I really like Tank.
So, Abel, people are going to, I can already see, people are going to make a clip. Abel Sanchez says Tank the best amongst, these group of fighters.
I think so, man. I think so. I think that he has what I would love to have in all my fighters. He's got this rage. He's got a Duran rage, in my opinion. And none of these guys have that. And he's got a little pop. Yes, he's a little short, but he's got that Duran rage that he wants to hurt you, man. He wants to hurt you. Subriel Matias just has big pop, and I've never heard him. I've never seen him explode or say anything mad or nasty as Gervonta does. And Gervonta can back his shit up. And you see the other guys, they don't have that rage. And I think that's very important in a fighter. That's for my fighters, I would love to have that first, and then I could work around everything else. Because if they have that rage, there can be some mean people inside the ring.
I also see, those guys too moving up to 147. Ryan's going to be at 147. Teo's going to be at 147. Rolly's probably going to be. Rolly's been saying he wants to be at 147. Shakur eventually will make it to 147. So maybe they're kind of thinking ahead. Like, hey, those guys are going to come to 147 anyways. I'm going to go and snatch or attempt to snatch a belt at 47. And then when those guys come up to 47, that's a big business type of fight because they would have won or unified championships at 140.
Could that be the early 80s of this era? Hagler, Duran, Leonard, Hearns, Benitez.
Well, yeah, they had mentioned them earlier on, the young four princes, the comparison that, hey, maybe this is, a little bit different, obviously, but, the main four in their weight classes, around their weight classes in their prime, that are elite.
Yeah, the great thing about that era, the early 80s, is that they all fought each other. They all had losses, obviously, because they fought each other. One of them's going to lose. And if they do that again, I think that'd be great for boxing because you're going to lose. There's going to be guys out there that have your number, and a guy that beats you may not be able to beat the guy that you beat. So I hope they do that. I hope it's a round robin so that way boxing will benefit. We haven't had that in forever since that era.
The other thing that I heard over the weekend, Abel, I'm pretty sure I know what you're going to say, but Teofimo Lopez has had and the team substantive talks with Subriel Matias to have a fight on the Puerto Rican Day Parade in June in New York. reaction, thoughts.
I wouldn't want to see that fight. I would love to see Teo fight Ryan first.
Yeah.
I would like to see Teo fight one of the other guys that we've mentioned. I think you have to stay away from Matias. Even if you hit him, he's gonna hit you back, and when he hits you, it shortens careers. Those kind of fighters shorten careers. The guys that fucking Addy, how many guys continued their careers in a successful manner? You know,
Yeah.
Rosado had a lot of fights, but Rosado was an opponent for a lot of people. Jacobs never looked the same. You know, when Gil never looked the same. Lemieux got knocked out and stopped in some fights. It just,
Yeah,
you know, those
Benavidez.
guys take a lot out of you. And especially if it's a long fight. Let's say Teo's tough and he goes 12 rounds. He's going to take a lot of punishment from this guy. They're both going to take punishment. But this guy has got hammers. He's got sledgehammers in his hands. So I wouldn't want to see Teo fight that fight. I would love to see him fight Ryan. I think that's a fight that could be sold better. It would be more attractive for the public than a Matias fight. Matias is not really known, so you're not gaining as much as you would against a Ryan.
Man, Abel, I don't know. Like like a part of me feels that like, it's because of the stuff that's been ongoing with Teo, but like I just feel like not enough more respect is given to like the abilities that Teo has, and people forget like just really how good he is, how fast twitchy he is, and how explosive he is as a fighter, and when he's turned on, like how damn good he is.
When he's right, but as we discussed before, he's got so much baggage that he brings along, and we don't know where his head is at right now. We don't know because he hasn't fought. We don't know because he's been inactive. We don't know because there's issues that we read about and we hear about that could affect his performance, could affect how he looks. So why put him against a Matias when he hasn't fought in a while? Put him against a Ryan who is not nearly as experienced as he is. Yes, he pops, but he's not nearly. He's going to be able to handle a Ryan a little easier than he would a Matias, in my opinion.